Don't kill your gran by catching coronavirus and then passing it on. Now, just from a personal perspective, Matt, that's the most condescending thing that you possibly could say.
Hello, welcome back to Basic Bubbles, episode 2. We haven't been cancelled quite yet.
Not quite yet, but it's been quite a week for all of us.
It has indeed.
Coronavirus.
Being blamed for coronavirus.
We're going to delve into it all in this week's episode, but first, let's talk about these gorgeous Proseccos. We have been very kindly gifted by I Heart Wine some personalised Prosecco. See our little faces on
I'm
here.
so excited about this. I've never had my face on a bottle of Prosecco before. But you guys can do that too. We've got our own little discount code for you, so you guys can get 20% off. The code is, which I'm going to put on the screen now, and it's going to be in the description, is BASICBUBBLES20.
20% off, that's not bad.
Do you know, it's actually really scary when you're not the one popping it, because last week I popped it, and you really screamed, and you just don't know when it's actually going to happen.
Yeah, you really don't. No one's eyes have come out just yet.
No, thank you. Not yet, there's still time.
Cheers, darling.
That's really lovely.
God, that's not bad.
It's really nice.
Last week we spoke about the editing debate. We had a fair few responses off you guys on this topic. Emma, she says, I'm going to say no to announcing editing. I think this would have been a useful tool maybe 5 years ago, but now surely Instagram comes with a caveat and people know it's edited. If they don't, education, not regulation.
Well, this leads into a good point from Helena, actually, and she says, with the Instagram feed recently, I've been channeling the thoughts that Instagram is only the best 5% of people's lives. So I think that's actually quite a good thing.
I completely agree with her. I think it's a complete highlights reel.
You guys were really kind of engaged with that on social media and online, and it's obviously a big talking point for people our age, certainly.
100%.
So we'll keep you up to date on that one. So it is time for Sassy.
Or assertive.
I'm going to tell you a story of pre-COVID, of like a house party, which turned into going out to a club, which was always the plan. So, there was like 30 people there at this house,
Yeah.
and we all then got cars to the club. And when we all got there, we were all kind of meant to stay together in like one big group. One person met somebody else there very early on, and when I say very early on, I mean within the first 10 minutes.
And when you say one person, do you mean yourself, Cam?
No. No. And they got on pretty well, and they left together, leaving everybody else wondering.
As you do when you meet a friend who you get along really well with.
And then they were like, well, where is he? And I feel like, was it Sassy, me leaving and like casting off the group, or was it Sassy?
Oh, so it was you.
No, it wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Was it Sassy of the person to go back with somebody else who wasn't in the group when you were meant to be having fun with your friends?
Probably assertive, because you went after your own heart. But then the fact that you didn't tell your friends...
Why you keep saying you, Pandora?
Sorry. And the fact that your friend didn't tell your other friends that they were leaving, I think it's just a courteous, quite frankly, a well-mannered thing to do. Be like, guys, I'm off. I realise that you might not like this, but time out. I'm out of here.
But what if he was just, you know...
No, I'm sorry, you win the Sassy Award.
I would not win the Sassy Award. I think
I'm the judge. You win the Sassy Award.
I win the Sassy Award. Well, at least we've now got one each.
One each, darling.
We should get like trophies. Yeah. No, we're all good. I thought, no,
that was karma.
That
was karma for being sassy.
It's on my t-shirt. I've drunk this much. That's it.
So, coronavirus updates. We're not getting them daily from the government, but Matt Hancock, after a couple of weeks of being silent, has decided to pipe up. And this time, he's really wound up the young generation.
God, you're really sassy today.
Sorry.
Basically, there's been quite a few spikes, but what the government is saying that it is young people who tend to be getting infected. So in March, April, it was older people, whereas now it's younger people.
Matt Hancock actually told Radio 1 Newsbeat listeners, don't kill your gran by catching coronavirus and then passing it on. Now, just from a personal perspective, Matt, that's the most condescending thing that you possibly could say. One, You're talking to a generation where quite a few people actually might not even have their grandparents anymore. And you really don't need to talk to us saying don't kill your gran. I think we're all very aware of the implications. I, for one, actually have had coronavirus myself, taking an antibody test. I was entitled to a test.
Yeah, you got one on the NHS, didn't you? I'm 90% sure I had it in March, but I haven't obviously got a test because back then you couldn't get a test. But it doesn't mean I can't get it again, and it does mean that our generation does have to be careful. I think that's probably what Matt Hancock and the government was indicating. We are the ones who are going to bars and are going to restaurants a lot more than older people are.
What the government are doing is sending mixed messages.
Yes.
One week they're saying eat out to help out, go out, go socialise. Rishi Sunak even saying eat out to help out's coming back next year maybe. Fantastic.
Amazing.
Like it's something to celebrate. I'm sorry. Let's just remember why all of that started, because of coronavirus. And the economy has just gone bloop.
We asked on social media whether young people are to blame for the spikes in COVID cases. So many people got in touch. It's obviously quite a sensitive topic, so thank you so much to everyone who did get in touch.
Harriet said, partly as a young person, I know a lot of people who haven't followed the rules. So I can only take from personal experience. I don't think the statistics lie. And she's right there, the statistics don't lie.
Henry says, I think young people have to accept some blame. I don't really buy the government told us to do it, go and have fun, so therefore it's their fault line, is what he says. Because the people sharing are often the same people hugging and kissing everyone, which was never encouraged by the government. That is true. I think if you go to bars and stuff, you do see people who maybe aren't as distant as they should be.
Should the bars be open if they cannot keep the social distancing rules down to a T? I know that the bars that I've been going to around here, I try and even get up from my table and I feel like I've got 4 eyes in the back of my head.
If you are going into a very crowded bar where every table is taken up, then obviously it's going to be quite hard to socially distance if there's very narrow corridors between the tables.
But then also it's about kick-starting the economy again, which is what Boris Johnson wanted.
It's an impossible situation. It's a choice between allowing people to, this sounds really morbid, but I'm afraid it's true, it's allowing people to die from a bad economy and a recession because there are no jobs and everything that comes with that, or are they going to allow people to die of COVID?
Boris is saying let's get back into the office. Boris is saying let's use public transport. Boris is sending everybody back to school, which by the way I do agree with. Letting people get onto planes which has an airflow system above you. They need to do something about it, and all these mixed messages, just quite frankly in my eyes, is not good enough. In terms of me and Cam, obviously we're not being very socially distant right now, but we do want to declare that we were both working throughout lockdown, and both being young people in London, we decided as friends that we'd get into the same social bubble.
And our producer Pranali has had a test and she doesn't have it, and she lives here in the same household as Pandora.
Yeah.
Both of us go to a gym fairly often, I would say, but gym is something which probably maybe didn't come naturally to either of us, not because we didn't have the ability to go to the gym, but because maybe we feel... There's some quite intimidating people who also go to the gym.
When I go into a weights area as a woman, I always used to find it very, very intimidating. And that's purely based on the fact that 80% of the people in there are men. And probably 50 to 60% of that are all incredibly ripped, quite frankly sound like rhinoceroses, and when you walk in there you feel like a little mouse.
Are they doing something to you which makes you feel intimidated, or do you think you're just intimidated anyway?
I'm intimidated anyway.
They probably don't mean to.
Granted, I'm intimidated anyway. When you walk in there as a woman, you do get more looks than if a man was to walk in there, purely because of the fact that you're not one of the men going into there. So I go over to the bench and I get myself a bench and I sit down and I start,
Pumping some iron.
And I don't scream at the top of my voice when I'm doing a rep. So there's no need for someone to grunt that loudly like an old dog next to me.
Do you think they are doing it deliberately to attract attention to themselves because they've got a massive ego? Or do you think they are genuinely... No, do you think they generally have got really massive weights and they are pushing as hard as they can, pushing themselves as hard as they can for their own physical health?
I think there is a bit of that, but also I'm trying to do my personal best too, and there is no need to make that noise. I'm just saying they're trying to show off this big alpha energy, when in reality they're trying to make up something else.
I won't go into the weights area.
Oh, so you won't even go in?
I don't go into the weights area.
This is interesting, the fact that you won't even go into the weights area.
No, and it's not because I probably couldn't do it. I just think I feel like I'm being judged for going in there because I don't look like those kind of
Well, neither do
rugby
I.
lad guys.
I mean, they're not always rugby lads either. They're literally like.
No, but when I was at school, obviously you're kind of forced to go to the gym when you're at school, and it was the people who were good at it and the people who were sports teachers loved were all the rugby lads. The reason people don't particularly like going to gyms or like exercising is the way that exercise and gym is taught in school, i.e. contact sport or gym sessions or that really intimidating team sport,
100%.
I think puts off a lot of people. So later on in life, when they are maybe a bit overweight or they're not very healthy within themselves, because it hasn't been taught to them that you're doing this to keep yourself healthy and you do it at your own pace, not at the best person's pace. You do it for yourself and enjoyment. I think that's not taught well enough. But let us know if you guys have had any struggles at the gym, or if you're one of those people who are in the weights area who has no problem whatsoever being there.
And maybe I'm just being ridiculous. So for our challenge this week, we thought we'd stick to the theme of coronavirus, specifically to what we used to have every single day in the midst of lockdown, which was the daily briefing from Downing Street. Producer, or should I say Judge Pranali, is going to judge who can do the best daily briefing.
Boris Johnson style.
Hello everyone. We'd like you to go to work, don't go to work. We want you to go to school, don't go to school. We want you to have fun, no, don't have fun. No, COVID's going up, no, it's young people's fault. And something around.
That was very good. I feel
Thank
like
you.
I'm gonna
Can
be
I just say
awful.
disclaimer? I totally ripped off Matt Lucas there.
Yeah,
but,
so that's copyright, so that's disqualification.
I'm gonna be the flag.
Right. Hello, and welcome to... Gosh, I sound like the Queen! Hello, and welcome to the Downing Street press conference. In this week... listen, I don't know, really. I'm going to pass it over to Professor Whitty, who'll give you a rundown of the numbers. Yeah,
I'm going to have to go with Cam.
Yeah, okay.
Only because he stayed consistent.
It's
You've got
a
to act.
man's world.
It's a man's
world, guys. Do you want to fill it up for me?
Yes,
Forrest.
with our I Heart Wines Prosecco. Discount code in the description for 20% off.
Look at those bubbles.
Thank you so much for watching while she's downing this. We'll be back same time next week. Please let us know your thoughts on anything we've discussed on this programme. Follow us on social media, etc, etc. And remember, I Heart Wines has gifted us these beautiful bottles of Prosecco, and you can get your own 20% off. Details in the description.
Basic Bubbles 20. Join us next week.
Bye.